It's Colleen Coles, and today I just want to talk about what it takes to be a Christian and still explore other realms of spirituality and personal development. And so, if you were like me, maybe brought up Christian, brought up Catholic, still Christian, still Catholic, but kind of having this desire inside to know a little bit more about like crystals, or know a little bit more about astrology, and what's this thing Mercury retrograde, and and even go bigger in your life. This is a way that you can do that and still stay Christian. Because if you were like me, it was so hard to kind of bridge that gap and reconcile being Christian and feeling kind of stuck in that, and then falling away from it, but then wanting to know about other stuff. And for my journey personally, I've been able to kind of go full circle. And so what I want to share with you is how you can be Christian and also feel free to explore what you want to explore, whether it be crystals, your spirituality, like meditation, new ways of consciousness. Because, it's so popular, and it's kind of scary sometimes to know what's right for me, what's wrong, like that process of discernment. And so through this video, I would just want to share my story on how I was able to bridge that gap and, instead of feeling conflicted or constricted, feeling free, feeling like through my authenticity, like I can do more because I'm feeling free to express and feel free to explore. And what does that end up doing for you? That ends up you having the courage to not care what other people think, and to have the courage to go out and do what you really want. Because when we feel stuck, like what we really want isn't okay, and it's just exploring crystals, how are you going to go out and do what you'd love to in the world? How are you going to, follow a dream if you think, oh, well, that's not right, or I can do that, with those types of constricting thoughts? So here we go. If this is the first time you're tuning in, I'm Colleen, and I am a purpose alignment coach. So I help people, young professionals, get really clear on what their purpose is and turn it into a meaningful career. And I specifically work with people who are open-minded, whether it's Christian, not spiritual, but people who want to connect to a bigger source than themselves and use that power to guide them. And whether it's intuition, whether it's just God himself, herself, that you're guided every step of the way to your purpose. Right now, you're protected, and you can live out your dream that's really meant for you, following God's will and your passion. So, today I'm sharing my personal short story that in this light, I've never shared it before, so I'm kind of honored and excited to share. And I just want to start with this kind of story. I remember being Catholic in high school and college. And in college, I was really involved in the Newman Center, which is the Catholic church on campuses all across the country. And I remember I was so involved. I was an intern. I was a social justice coordinator. So I set up like different, any type of volunteer activities we did, I was doing it and setting up something once a month. And I was just exploring what the church really said about social justice and what that meant for me and who Christ was, but so much into it that I was like rock hard. And I remember sitting in the office of my mentor, the youth minister at the time. And because of our whole time of me being there and exploring other cultures and other ways of doing things, meeting people through the volunteer work, he told me something like this. He said, Colleen, you're going to be a bridge for people who are Christian and then who are not. And I remember when he said that, I was like, what is he talking about? And I don't even want to do that. And even in a way, like the way he said it was that you're going to help people who don't see Christ see Christ. And in my head, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want people who are hopey or, believe whatever they want to believe whatever they want. Like, I don't want to force that on them. So I kind of threw that aside. But as I've grown over and even become a coach that helps people of all faiths, and even in my own life of coming full circle back to Christianity, but in a very fulfilling, open way, I've realized that what he said could be right. And so what I want to share with you is just how I did bridge that gap. And something that I've come to find as true for me is how we can read about Jesus in the Bible in a whole new way. One of my clients that that I've been working with recently is Catholic, and she said she also wants to be broad. So she said, what is Zen? And I said, well, Zen is a type of Buddhism, and it's a state of mind that's like eternal bliss. And she's like, I want to be a Zen Christian. So she has this desire to like look into meditation, look into different ways like numerology even, or yoga, and explore how God represents himself or herself in all ways while still being Christian. And as I've come to terms in my own faith and journey, like Christ could have been a really cool New Age dude. Okay, and Christ was actually using the tools that we use, such as law of attraction and things like that, but in a different way. And so coming back to the Bible, I'm going to share my story in just a second, but coming back to the Bible in a new way has allowed me to see Christ as a figure of what's called Christ consciousness. So something that we can tap into of a way of life to experience our inner world, not just our outer world. And I think a lot of the times our Christianity, we talk about faith, but we also do it in the way of like moral judgment, what's right, what's wrong. Or if you're like more in the Catholic foundation, maybe like what are your acts? Are you acting Christian or are you not? And so I want to invite you to a way of looking at Christianity in a whole new way that's helped me so much, in a whole deeper level that's still the internal world, but helping with you with your mind, helping you grow your life, and helping you connect to Christ in a consciousness way, in a state of peace, through even things like meditation, through things like, nature itself. So to give you a little background, if you're feeling conflicted and, you can't explore what you want to. I grew up Catholic, but I wasn't really into the church until I got into high school. And when I got into high school, I was invited to a retreat, and I remember sitting in my bed right beforehand, and I had this like intuition that said, this is gonna change my life. And I was right. My intuition was right. And that weekend changed everything. And from that time, I was so devout, so heady about it, really, and like judgy about it, really, that I was asking everybody like, well, what about this, and like trying to prove others wrong, and just going so deeply into Catholicism that by the time I got to college, I felt kind of constrained. And I wanted to learn about Christianity in a new way, so I went towards social justice. And so through social justice, I was able to learn how Christ was actually living in the world, and he was helping the poorest of the poor, and it wasn't just about how you were thinking, it was about how you were acting. And so I was totally like expanding in that way, but I still was feeling a little stuck, because I went to school in Arizona and just 40 minutes away from Sedona. And I remember one time driving into the city of Sedona, which is known to be a vortex and all this cool, crazy stuff. I remember driving into Sedona, and as we were turning the corner into this town, seeing this little shop with a cool mural of like a blue earth and like crystals and angel wings, and it was under the shade of this willow. And I remember seeing it and just wanting to go in. But I felt stuck because I felt like I couldn't safely do that and still call myself a Christian. And not even so much call myself a Christian, really feel safe. Because the way I was trained was that if you go into this stuff, you are opening up your world to evil. You're opening up your world to like people that are essences that you don't even know. So hold on. You're a bridge, yes. So thank you, Brooke. Becky's here, Tina. Awesome. Okay. And so here we go. So where was I going? So, with this concept of Christianity, like it can be scary to explore. Let me fix the lighting. There we go. It can be scary to explore what might be fun for us. So, maybe it's crystals for you. Maybe it's astrology. Maybe it's numerology. Maybe it's just personal development in general. For me, it was meditation. I had a mentor in high school that said, you can meditate, but if you do, you're kind of opening yourself to everything that exists, evil, good, so you might want to be careful with that. And I remember just being so afraid to meditate. Now I meditate every day. And there was a hump I had to get over because I felt so scared of those energies I didn't want to open up to. And so I just wanted to share my story to show you that it is possible to really bridge the gap. And feel confident to explore and then do what you want, because in essence Christ was doing that. Christ was the one who was breaking the rules. Christ was the one who was speaking his mind, even though it wasn't okay at the time. And so if we want to truly be like Christ, we can do it in a way that still is aligned with who he was as an example, and also our own inner truth. We can have the confidence to go out and do what we really, really love to do, okay, and feel good about it. I remember I had a client who was Jamaican, and she just really wanted to explore things like crystals and like go bigger in her life. But for her, the Christian culture was Pentecostal, and she couldn't even wear makeup growing up. And, you know, in Jamaica, it was so polarized with voodoo and, you know, evil spirits. So she was feeling really scared to just even express herself in her life. And for me personally, and other people I've worked with, when we feel afraid to explore our own inner desires with stuff that's spiritual, it can be really hard to get past the belief or fears that are in the way from doing what we truly desire and what's even really meant for us. So this woman who we worked with, we got to the blocks, we got him away, and now she is, you know, scoring in her own business and just totally going for it, like making loads of money, you know, totally on purpose, feeling in love with what she's doing and making a big impact doing it. And that's what can happen when we get past the fears and allow ourselves to be who we are, but do it in a way that still follows our values. And so, you know, I'm wondering if, you know, maybe you're in the same boat, like you were feeling afraid. And oh, this was the last part of my story, was that, you know, even after my mentor said, you're going to be a bridge, it was a point where I wanted to explore myself. I wanted to go to that crystal shop. I wanted to see what was up, but I felt so scared, like I couldn't do it because my priest was going to get mad. And then when my mentor said that, he was like, you know, you're going to be a bridge, you're going to help basically convert people to Christianity. I was like, but what if that's not my job? Like, what if I don't want to do that? And so as I got a little bit older, I kind of fell away from the church. And honestly, I didn't even want to touch it. I didn't want to touch it because I was afraid of feeling closed-minded again and trapped and scared. And just recently, what's been so cool is that I've been able to see Christ as a whole new mentor and a brother, and somebody as an example for his consciousness, for his awareness, and for his ability to connect with God through his mental state. And that's what's possible for all of us. And through this new perspective, I've been able to be brave to do what I want, still feeling like I'm connected to something bigger, still feeling like I got Christ in my corner, and not feeling judged by it, not feeling condemned by it, not feeling stuck, not feeling afraid. And just to share really personally, I remember at Christmas I went to a Christian church, and I had been staying away because I didn't want to be blocked in again. But when I had this realization of what Christ could actually represent, the consciousness that even things that the New Age spiritual world represent, like I was able to connect with him so much personally and in a more freeing way. So when I went to this Baptist church, which sometimes can be pretty close-minded, I was connecting with Christ even past the fear that was coming out of this pastor. Like the pastor was telling these stories and kind of going in the hell and brimstone arena, but yet I was seeing the passage from Christ and seeing it in a way that spoke so much to my heart and my consciousness, because he was saying, you can do this too. You can find this peace, you can find this connection, and you can work these miracles in your life too. And so that's what's given me so much peace and stability to run my life how I want it, while also staying clear on being a Christian. So if this is an issue for you, I want to hear your story. You know, you can connect with me through a personal message, through the comments below, or even just going to my website, which is brand new, ColleenColes.com, and sending me an email that way. But I want to, you know, hear your story. I want to hear if you're struggling with that too, and even show you some ways that you can blend those together. You know, and if you're feeling stuck in your purpose, if you're feeling like you don't know how to explore and just, you know, want to be yourself, want to explore these things, but it might not be safe for you, I want to show you how it can be. And I want to show you how you have the tools inside of discernment to be able to make the best decisions for you every time. Every time, because when you make those right decisions, you're always being guided. So when you can trust your guidance, you can trust yourself, and you can trust yourself to go out and do meaningful work, live a meaningful life, and explore, having a good time. So let's see. We had a couple other people come on. Thanks for joining. That's that's my message today. And so, you know, it can be kind of funny to hear, like, you can be Christian and also New Age, but it's totally possible. And so, you know, you can do it. You can not be afraid and still explore. And, you know, one way Christ says is that we can tell something by the fruit. And so if you're looking at the fruit and it doesn't make you feel bad, that's one way that you can just allow it in. Okay? So do get in touch with me, though, because I want to hear your story. I want to hear if you resonate with this journey of mine. And even if I can help you in any way, just connect with your higher source and in Christ in a new way that can help you do what you love and explore what you want to explore. Because that's how we can really make a meaningful life and do what we really want to do. So lots of love to you. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks even for watching the replay. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.